Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be looking at the trunk mount, latch mount motor for ML350. These are motorized in nature and they assist in the locking of the trunk, also in the opening of the trunk. On this particular one, the gears have gone bad in this unit, causing the trunk not to engage on the latch. The assembly itself is covered with a plastic shroud that is removed by popping out some pins. Once that's removed, then you have access to 3 star nuts that hold the lock mount assembly. Today I'll be using some star wrenches, and the size for the star nuts on this particular application is T30. So I'm going to be using that to remove those assembly in place. This lock mount assembly has a motor on it that assists in closing and latching the trunk. Inside the motor compartment there are some plastic gears that can wear out or break, and I believe that's what is happening here. The motor will continue to spin. I have disengaged that to save the motor and also not to drain the car battery. Once that plastic shroud is removed, then there's some pins that fit into the holes of the lift gate. They also need to be removed. If any of them break, they're easily obtained at the dealership where these parts are sold. But the reason for removing this cover is that the latch mount will not come out from this end, but it has to be removed up and out from inside. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and just remove the first one. And the second one, and just have it held in place by one star nut. Putting them in a safe place. Then I'm going to go ahead and remove the final one. It has a latch on the inside, so it's not going to fall out. It will stay in place. Like I said earlier, this unit is going to have to come out by going back up inside. There are a couple of things to look out for when removing the assembly. This is the emergency lever that you can use to open the trunk when you're in the inside of the car. Care needs to be taken not to damage this. It's connected by stainless steel braided cable, but the unit itself, with that said, unfortunately this is in place by a rivet, so we don't want to damage that. That cable needs to be removed, and that's accomplished by just unsnapping that from this housing here. Once that's done, then you can take that off like that. That essentially disconnects the emergency, and then the unit itself can slide out. I ordered this lock replacement for the ML350 yesterday, and it came in FedEx today. And even though I had attempted to repair it and I repaired it successfully, you know, this is a part that you want to have brand new replacement. You don't want to chance having this lock fail, especially if it's going to fail. It could fail in the locked position. Then you have difficulty getting the trunk open, difficulty getting the part out. So I decided that instead of going with the replaced part that I fixed on the inside of the older module that failed, I would just go ahead and purchase this brand new one from Mercedes. So I'll be installing that, and I'll be showing you how to install that momentarily. I'm going to go ahead and replace a locking module on the ML350. I have the new unit here in my hand, brand new, from Mercedes, and part number on that is Alpha 164-740-0735. Once you give them your correct VIN number, they can give you the corresponding part. One of the reasons why these sometimes fail is that the grease that's placed on the lock itself gives out or wears out. It should be lubricated regularly. So we're going to go ahead and install this. Remember from earlier in this video, I said that the locking module has to come out from the inside. So the reverse is true of when you're going to be installing the new one. It has to go in from behind. This little module, this little plastic brace here with this lever tends to get in the way. It's pretty flexible. You can bend it out of the way just to let it slide by. It cannot be removed without detaching these rivets. And once you detach both rivets, then you have to reinstall new rivets if you have a rivet machine, or you can install nut and bolt. I don't recommend going that route. It's easily just pushed aside, and the locking module can be installed that way. Alright, hopefully we have enough light. Hopefully you guys can see clearly on the video what I will be doing. Here is the unit. It needs to be inserted like this. I know, right? Like this. That doesn't say much, but you're gonna reinstall it the same way you took it out, and that's the silver front facing the trunk of the, you know, the lift gate. It's gonna basically slide in place, go inside, and once it's inside, before I actually bolt it in place, what I like to do, I like to hook up the power last, so that there's no chance of shorting anything out. All right, so let's start. I'm gonna set up my light. Currently, I'm trying to hold the light and also hold the camera. Well, the camera's kind of on a tripod right now, but let me try and get this light situated. All right, so like I said earlier, this little plastic brace at the bottom is in the way, so you basically just gotta pry it out of the way, and you can pry that out of the way just by holding it just enough to get this inside, and then it's once it's inside, then we can worry about placement. Placement being that this is the locking mechanism here, and of course the trunk is not going to close and lock until that's in place. Then the emergency release cable that you see in front of you needs to be connected onto this lever here, so that if someone's inside the trunk in an emergency situation, you can open it from the inside. We'll do that last. So right now I'm just putting the emergency cable in and out of the way. We'll adjust that once everything's in place. All right. So now that that's physically where it needs to be, the next thing to worry about is the emergency release. Then we'll hook up the power. You can see over in the corner there how the power cable goes in. I almost want to connect the power now, but I prefer to be safe and not damage anything or lock myself in the trunk in the process. So what I'll do is I will it's kind of a good idea to plug it in before everything is bolted down too tightly, just because it's a hard reach on the inside. But let's go ahead and do the emergency release next. So the emergency release cable needs to come back this way and stay inside this body right here, a little cavity, and the sponges that you see on it is to prevent it from getting squished or squeezed as it's inside this cavity for whatever reason. If it gets into an accident, chances are it's going to get damaged no matter what. But let's take a closer look of how to reconnect that. I don't want to make any assumptions, and it's easier to have a video show you exactly what to do rather than have to try to answer questions after the fact. Alright, so there's a little lip right here that you're going to push this groove into, and then this piece will go into the lever itself. So starting with the lever itself, connect that into the lever itself just like that, pushing it around. Once it's pivoted around, then you push that down into place, and that's it for that piece. Secondly, we gotta remember that we need to also put power, and then after that we have the bolts, star bolts, 3 star bolts that we will need to secure the lock in place. If you need bolts when ordering the new piece, you need to specify that, because it will not come with the new unit. They're expecting that you will reuse the old ones, but if you do need them, please be advised that they will not appear with the new lock. I think I'm going to go ahead and, before I bolt anything down, just because it's a tight fit and my fingers are kind of fat, that it's not a bad idea to plug in the power. If you're going to do that, just disconnect the battery, your main battery lead. Okay, I've gone ahead and brought the lock back up just so that I can plug the power in. I kept going back and forth on it. I'm going to just go ahead and plug it in because once the lock's in place, it's really difficult to try and unplug it. So here goes that. Already started putting the screws back in place. I'm going to just finger tighten those for a while here. There's one that I need to also put in there. I'll do that in a minute. But once they're tightened by hand, then I'll just use the wrench on them. By testing it, by shutting the trunk. That's a nice sound. It works.